Jails and incarceration and law enforcement is a sickness that has not led to safe communities.
One of those mass shootings leaving 7 teenagers in the hospital. Just blocks away from that, a man died.
He lit a woman on fire aboard a train. Meanwhile, there are growing questions about why he was back out on the streets despite a rap sheet reportedly going back to the early 90s.
These kids can't read. And how to, but they don't really need to know how to read.
Wait, stop.
Stop. I ain't gonna say that.
All right, guys, welcome back to the channel. I am Carmen, Jaycee, and today we're going to be talking about the madness that is going on in Chicago. There's always literally something going on in the city of Chicago. No matter what Brandon Johnson tells you, yeah, it's a lot going on. And starting with the Christmas tree lighting. You know, you can't even go downtown and light the big, beautiful Christmas tree without mass shootings happening. And people are acting like this is like an isolated incident, but we all know. I just did the last week of my podcast talking specifically about Chicago. Just Chicago. That's how much stuff actually happened that is newsworthy to talk about to you guys. It is ridiculous. And it's like the adults in Chicago, they enjoy the drama. They enjoy what's going on because they do nothing about it. I want you guys to go ahead and take a listen to the news coverage on that. So let's go ahead and take a listen.
We've been following this all night. 2 shootings just hours after the Christmas tree lighting, steps away as well from the Chris Kindle Market right here downtown. One of those mass shootings leaving 7 teenagers in the hospital. Just blocks away from that, a man died. Let's get right to our Saul Rizai at State and Randolph for the very latest on the investigations.
Yeah, Suzanne, one of those shootings happened just steps away from the Chicago theater here. The scene has been cleared here this morning, but we know new details from Chicago police this morning tell us 7 people were shot here near the Chicago theater. A separate scene near Adams and Dearborn had 2 other people that were shot. The person at that scene, we learned, has died. Witnesses tell us the victims seemed all to be very young, in their teenage years. Police confirming this morning the youngest victim is only 13 years old. Suzanne, you mentioned these shootings happened just steps away from multiple big holiday attractions happening here in the Loop. We'll get to that video. Chicago police saying they saw a large group of people on the sidewalk. You'll see the scene video as aftermath. Dozens of Chicago police officers and first responders on the scenes here downtown. The victims between 13 and 17 years old. In total, 7 people shot here at State and Randolph, all said to be in good condition, thankfully. 1 person in fair condition. 2 more people shot, as I mentioned, at Adams and Dearborn at a different scene. The injuries of those victims are more serious. Police confirming this morning they found 2 other people shot at Adams and Dearborn. 1 man had gunshot wounds throughout his body and was pronounced dead at the hospital. The second victim, an 18-year-old man, was shot in the leg and is in serious condition at last check.
All right, so clearly these teen takeovers have become a thing, especially here in Chicago. I don't know if other states are dealing with this whole teen takeover thing. And I for some reason, I feel like this is organized chaos. Like there is someone organizing these takeovers. And then they track them. Brandon Johnson is going to talk about this in a second, but I want you guys to hear what he said about the actual violence that happened, and then we'll come back to talking about these teen takeovers. So let's go ahead and take a listen to Brandon Johnson.
Incidents like last night set us back as a city, and it evokes fear. Our young people have to understand that they should not attend these unauthorized events that have been advertised on social media. They are extremely dangerous due to the number of individuals that may be carrying weapons, and as much progress as we have made, there are still far too many guns on our streets. For these young people who have engaged in these incidents, you have put yourselves and your friends at risk. Because of the reckless behavior of a few individuals, we have families devastated, and our downtown residents are hesitant to leave their own homes. I'm the first person to recognize that we have more work to do in this city to provide safe spaces for our young people. But these type of violent gatherings can never be an alternative, nor can they be normalized. We need parents, guardians, and other responsible adults to do their best to accompany young people large unsanctioned gatherings where weapons are likely to be present. There's always more we as adults can do to make sure that we know where our kids are and what they are doing. I recognize this feels like emotional whiplash. After this incredible celebration last night where thousands of people gathered, Chicagoans who were enjoying our tree lighting ceremony expressed their love for our city. It was peaceful. It was a joyous evening, a vision of the best of Chicago. The holiday season is a time when we come together as a city.
Okay, so a bunch of mumbo jumbo. He's not really talking about the issue at hand. And Brandon Johnson, he's going to say that crime is going down and it's getting better. But the fact of the matter is, it is not getting better. Okay, it's not getting better at all. And these teen takeovers are getting worse. Like, I have the Citizen app, and one time on my app, it's like 20 teenagers with guns and backpacks are in the area, and it's like, what do you do with that information? What do you do? And especially coming from someone like Brandon Johnson, who thinks that we should defund the police, or he thinks that policing is not the solution. I want you guys to go ahead and take a look, listen to some of the precautions that he said he took in order to prevent this from happening. And just so you know, it's not going to be nothing great. So let's go ahead and take a listen.
This gathering was circulating on social media for a couple of days ahead of it actually taking place. What was the city's plan to proactively meet that ahead of the gathering itself? This was on TikTok, and it was circulating. People were telling folks to avoid downtown because there was a teen takeover planned.
Yeah, so we have been monitoring social media and this gathering for a couple of days. And so, working with the Chicago Police Department and the Chicago Public Schools, there was a communication that was delivered to CPS to encourage young people not to participate in these unauthorized gatherings. We had 700 additional officers on top of the 1st Police District present. We had CVI workers that were out there as well. But clearly, what we put in place did not do enough to prevent what we were concerned about from actually manifesting. We will continue to make the necessary adjustments as we move along to ensure that these large, peaceful.
So essentially, he's saying that they put more police officers on the streets, and they wanted to basically have the police presence, but they don't really allow the police to chase the kids. Like, they don't allow them to pursue them. So it's like, what is the point of having all these police officers on the street if the police officers can't pursue the people who are actually committing crime? And I'm going to let you guys go ahead and take a listen to this next guy. He's on Fox News, and he's going to explain exactly why what Brandon Johnson is saying is a bunch of BS. So let's go ahead and take a listen.
Folks who want to come and just watch the tree lighting and have a little family tradition cannot do so safely because the mayor of Chicago has ensured that the police are handcuffed. They have a policy called the Safety Act in Illinois where police cannot do their jobs. It eliminates cash bail. And an additional policy is the no chase policy, where police have to call their supervisors in order to pursue a suspect on foot or in their cars. These soft on crime policies have created a system of fear for the people of Chicago. Enough is enough, J.B. Pritzker. Enough is enough, Mayor Brandon Johnson. This must come to an end. And we're done asking. We're now demanding. We need change in the city of Chicago, and we need it right now. And it seems that the only person who's willing to listen to us is President Donald J. Trump.
When Donald Trump offers help, Brandon Johnson is saying this is unconstitutional, that he doesn't need the help. And we have people who are burning people on trains. Okay. And stuff like this is beginning to happen more and more often because they know that they're going to get out of jail. Let's go ahead and take a listen to this coverage on the guy that set the lady on fire on the train for absolutely no reason at all. Let's go ahead and take a listen to the coverage on that. Let's take a listen.
Prosecutors say he lit a woman on fire aboard a train. Meanwhile, there are growing questions about why he was back out on the streets despite a rap sheet reportedly going back to the early 90s. Mike Tobin is live in the Windy City with more. Hi, Mike.
And Dana, Lawrence Reed will be once again before the judge today, this time to determine if he will be held behind bars before he goes to trial. And that really is the backbone of this case. On Monday, he was out walking the streets despite a pending case for allegedly knocking a woman out, able to ride the L train where a woman was set on fire. Now, we have a statement from her family through Cook County Health. It's a pretty simple statement. They say, "We'd like to thank everyone for their prayers and well wishes as our daughter receives care for her injuries sustained earlier this week. We're also grateful for the excellent care and support of the burn team at Stroger Hospital." It goes down to the family to say the family will not be providing any more updates. Now, the criminal complaint against Reed says he went to a gas station, filled a plastic bottle with gasoline. The images get brutal here, so brace yourself. 20 minutes later, he was on the Blue Line train, dumped the gasoline on the woman's head. She ran, but he chased her down with the flaming remnants of the bottle and set her on fire. Mayor Brandon Johnson's message is that violence on public transit is not widespread.
Look, my responsibility is to build the safest, most affordable big city in America. The investments that we are making are certainly moving us in that direction. This is an isolated incident. I mean, I don't see this as some sort of trend.
We've tracked down more than 4 dozen arrests of Lawrence Reed since 1993. 9 of them were for felonies, yet he has served just over 2 years behind bars. Most recently, he was charged with aggravated assault for knocking out a social worker. The state's attorney requested pretrial detention, but Judge Teresa Molina-Gonzalez denied him the request and put him on electronic monitoring. The website CWB Chicago reports that at that detention hearing, Judge Molina-Gonzalez said, "I can't put everyone behind bars or keep everyone in jail just because the state's attorney has asked me to." So we'll find out later today if a federal judge will indeed keep him behind bars.
It's comical, right? It's comical. They're actually going to let him out on house arrest again for setting someone on fire. Absolutely ridiculous. And it just goes to show not only do we have a crime problem here in Chicago, but we have a mental health problem here in Chicago. And Brandon Johnson is just saying this is an isolated incident. This just does not happen often. And he would be lying because stuff like this does happen all the time. It happens all the time. Just last week, it was just case after case after case. And it's like the adults in the city, they do nothing but make excuses. They don't want to actually fix the problems in the community because they just want to fill their pockets. They like all of the attention, that the celebrity that comes with it. They don't care about actually helping Black people because we will be talking about accountability. We will be talking about the fathers being in the home, and we will be talking about actual education, actually doing things that giving these kids programs that can actually keep them busy, have them, leadership programs, anything that can keep these kids off the streets. And these officers, these police officers that are working under Brandon Johnson, they know that this is going to happen because it trends on social media first, but they can't do anything about it. It is disgusting that we constantly just let this happen and do not hold the people accountable. You wouldn't even believe there are people that actually clap for Brandon Johnson and say that he's doing a great job, and it is wild. And he's just going to say, punishing criminals is not the problem in so many words, or, policing and jails are a sickness. Let's listen to what Brandon Johnson have to say about that.
The fact of the matter is we are driving violence down on this city, and we're using every single resource that's available to us. Jails and incarceration and law enforcement is a sickness that has not led to safe communities.
Okay. You see what I mean? It's a sickness that have not led to safe communities, and it would be quite the contrary. And Brandon Johnson knows this. He knows this, but crime keeps his pockets lined. If it was a sickness and law enforcement was a sickness, he wouldn't have 150 officers protecting him as mayor. It just wouldn't be a thing. But they don't want to address these real issues because they want to keep gaslighting people. And they want the people of Chicago are screaming to the rooftops for change. Okay. There are a lot of people in Chicago that is fed up with the crime. And the sad part about it, a lot of these people who are victims of these crimes, these are the people that vote for these policies. These are the people who become the same people that are same victim. Yeah, much like the guy who was punching women in the loop. Okay, they keep letting these guys out. I'm going to show you guys the guy that I'm talking about that was constantly punching women. This guy. He was constantly punching these women, and you know what they did? They kept letting them out. They kept letting them out. Look at all the mugshots. Look at them. It's mugshot after mugshot, and the same thing with the previous guy who set the woman on fire. Mugshot after mugshot, but they continue to let them out. Why? Who does this benefit? Who do these people work for? Those are the questions that we need to be asking, because this right here is ridiculous. There's no reason why this guy should be out. And it's just not here. Look at this. It's ridiculous. 72 arrests, 45 arrests. There's no reason why these people should be out on the street. There's no reason. At what point do we start to point the finger at these judges who are letting these people out? At what point do we start to say we want accountability for these people who are higher up and keep letting these people out? The woman just let him out on house arrest. She let him out on house arrest, and he just set someone on fire for no reason. Are you kidding me? It is disgusting, and nobody wants to do anything about it. And you have these men that actually are in the community, the rappers and stuff, and they'll tell you stuff like this. Listen to this conversation I saw with Joel Santana. He's on this podcast, and he's going to talk about how the kids don't need to know how to read. Let's listen, because I was like, you have to be kidding when I saw this. And no. He was not kidding. Let's go ahead and take a listen to what he has to say.
Seriously though,
his voice
you should though. We gotta start teaching our kids though, just financial wealth and literacy and all that shit early, because by the time they get to 9th grade, they should be just learning how to start businesses.
These kids can't read
and how to. But they.
Boss. Now, I do agree that we do have to teach financial literacy. This part I do agree on, but I'm gonna let him continue so you can understand why I'm bringing this video up.
Nobody needs to know how to read.
Wait, stop.
I ain't gonna say that. I say that respectfully. I'm not saying that in a way to be literate, because you're not supposed to be illiterate, but you can.
What's more point, reading or math?
Math.
Told you.
Math. I think you could listen to a book on YouTube. You can still obtain the information. And you don't have to know how to read. That's not reading and understanding. I believe common sense is better than everything. I'm a common sense nigga. I'd rather have zero book smarts and common sense, be able to read the room, be able to read life, be able to read people. I try to understand people, you know what I'm saying? Like, nowadays you can listen to a book. I just listen to the 48 Laws of Power, not to.
You gotta read your contract, Els.
You don't have to. You can listen to that too. They got apps you can put it in and it'll read it to you. Are you crazy?
These are the leaders of the community. They're like, you don't need books. You don't need to know how to read. And it's the most idiotic thing I've ever heard. What happens if AI just fails? If something happened with AI, you're not going to know how to read? I think you need reading and you need math. They're both equally important. And I understand that you can listen to books, which is great, but you still need to know how to read. You cannot depend on AI. You cannot depend on technology. That's what they're banking on. That is actually the contrary of what we should be doing. We should not be depending on AI. Like, what you're supposed to use AI as a tool. You make AI work for you, not use AI because you don't know how to read. It's kind of ridiculous to even think that someone would say, like, these kids don't need to know how to read. It is troubling for me to see Black men, especially. I know all of them didn't agree, but it is very troubling to see this narrative being pushed in the Black community, especially where the kids are the stupidest. Okay, not to call the kids stupid, but they're pretty dumb. And I really just wish that we wouldn't just play into these narratives of what other people think about us, because a lot of the things that people say about the Black community is just absolutely true. A lot of people say these things because they have eyes. And the fact that we would think that we're going to depend on AI instead of depending on our brain. Do you know that AI is made based off of the human brain, not the other way around? The brain is not based off of AI. And that's what you might as well talk about transhumanism. This is what we're going to when you have people pushing these type of messages. And this is exactly what's wrong in the Black community. These guys don't want to do the hard work. They want to take the easy way out. The mayor, he doesn't want to do the hard things. He doesn't want to hold people accountable. He wants to take the easy way out by throwing money at the problem, enriching himself. And that is the problem that we're having in Chicago. And like I said, it's the blueprint for what is going to happen in other cities, because this is just the start. And we need to start paying attention to what is happening, because I guarantee you, It might look like one thing on the surface, but a lot of people are being radicalized, myself included, and a lot of people are just tired of not being able to afford groceries. So we'll see where this go. I want to know what you guys think. I am Carmen Jaycee. If you're new here, make sure you hit the like or the subscribe button. Or if you want to support the channel, hit the super thanks or the buy me a coffee link below. I love you guys so much, and I will see you next time.
I'm breaking chains, freeing minds, it's a time to rise. Conscious culture in my veins, yeah, we see through the lies. They telling stories, trying to mold what we thinking inside. But I'm cutting through illusions, showing truth worldwide. They trying to box us in, but we step out the line. Redefining who we are, no longer falling behind. I see the games they playing, how they shape our design. So I'm speaking for the thinkers who refuse to be blind.